Here is the question viewers keep coming back to. How do you do this without the tools of later civilizations? The answer is, you replace technical infrastructure with social infrastructure. You do not need a written contract if you have repeated gatherings, shared obligations, and strong reputations. You do not need a bureaucracy if the work is divided into teams that already know their roles: quarrying, shaping, transporting, preparing food, managing fires, maintaining tools. You do not need metal if you have skilled stone tool use, time, and a workforce that returns again and again. This kind of project also demands provisioning. People doing heavy labor must be fed. That implies planning, storing food in non-ceramic ways, timing gatherings, and coordinating contributions. And this is the deeper scientific point. Early societies were not simply small and simple. They could be complex in a different dimension, in relationships, commitments, and shared meaning. If Göbekli Tepe is tied to rituals, that makes practical sense. Ritual is a powerful technology of coordination. It can turn work into obligation, obligation into identity, and identity into a reason to return. Here's what we can say with confidence. The complex required quarrying and shaping limestone, and erecting large pillars within planned enclosures. UNESCO interprets the monuments as communal buildings built by hunter-gatherer groups. The monuments were probably used in connection with social events and rituals. Here's the best supported explanation. Ritual and shared identity may have stabilized cooperation across multiple groups and multiple building episodes. Large projects could be sustained through social mechanisms, reputation, obligation, reciprocity, without state institutions. And here's what we still cannot confirm: how leadership was structured, permanent leaders versus situational specialists, how provisioning worked in detail, feasting, storage, scheduling, and how far people traveled to participate. Now for the disciplined part, the part that makes this documentary scientific. It is tempting to label Göbekli Tepe as the first temple or the first city. But the evidence pushes us toward a more careful description. UNESCO emphasizes the monumental enclosures, but it also notes that recent work has identified remains of non-monumental structures that may come from domestic buildings. So we are not looking at a single-purpose stage set. We're looking at a complex activity landscape: building, maintenance, gatherings, and at least some everyday life, across time. At the same time, it is not an urban system. There is no palace plan, no streets, no written administration, no clear evidence of a state. The best scientific position is this: Göbekli Tepe is a monumental communal complex. It shows that people can build big without being a city, and can be organized without being a state. And that is exactly why it rewrites expectations. It expands what early humans could do with the tools they actually had. Here's what we can say with confidence. UNESCO notes remains of non-monumental structures that could originate from domestic buildings alongside the monumental enclosures. The site's defining architectural feature is communal enclosures with T-shaped pillars and carved imagery. Chronological placement is within the pre-pottery Neolithic, 10th to 9th millennia BCE, between about 9,600 and 8,200 BCE. Here's the best supported explanation. The site likely supported a mix of functions over time: communal gatherings and construction activity, with some domestic presence. Its social role may have been larger than its residential footprint. And here's what we still cannot confirm: the exact rhythm of use through the year and through centuries. How the site's function changed from earlier round oval forms to later rectangular architecture. And that brings us to the end of this episode. Next episode: the animal carvings and the clues they may contain.